With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
It's kind of mind-bending when you stop and think about it, isn't it?
What's that?
How the classic image of crime, the shady back alley deals, has this whole other side now, a massive digital underworld.
Well, absolutely. It's completely transformed.
So today, we're really diving deep into this world, cybercrime. And our guide is María Aperador Montoya. She's a criminologist, but also founder of Vival, building actual solutions.
Right. And for you listening, our mission here, our goal for this deep dive is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We want to get a real handle on what cybercrime actually looks like today. Understand why it's so tough to combat.
And what's being done about it. We're drawing directly from Maria's expertise from our recent chat.
Exactly.
Because, let's be honest, keeping your digital life secure, it can feel like this constant uphill battle.
You hear about breaches, scams all the time. It's easy to feel, overwhelmed.
Totally. So we want to cut through some of that noise today, give you some clear takeaways from Maria's insights, things you can, actually use.
And what's really fascinating is how Maria even got into this field in the first place. Her background isn't tech, it's traditional criminology.
Right.
So what was that turning point from studying, street crime to the complexities of cyber threats?
Well, it was seeing how those lines were just blurring completely, undeniably.
Okay.
Maria saw how the traditional criminal stuff she was focused on, think illegal arms trafficking, drug dealing, human trafficking, all that.
The big ones.
Yeah, the big ones. They were increasingly being funded, fueled by cybercrime.
So it wasn't just a new type of crime popping up.
No, it was the old crimes finding new legs.
Yeah.
Digitally. A huge shift. And this realization, this genesis delictiva, the evolving origins of crime, as she put it, that's what really pushed her to specialize in the digital side of things.
That really highlights it, doesn't it? The digital space isn't just some separate playground for criminals anymore.
Not at all.
It's integral to how they operate now. And Maria shared a statistic that it really puts the scale of this into perspective.
Oh, absolutely staggering. She said, get this, if cybercrime were a country, it would be the third largest global power.
Wow. Third largest. Just let that sink in for a moment.
We're talking about an economic impact that rivals major nations.
Which brings us neatly to why fighting feels like such an uphill struggle. Maria painted this picture of a real David and Goliath situation.
Yeah, but maybe Goliath has, all the futuristic weapons.
Exactly. She used this really striking analogy. Cyber criminals often have bazookas. That's the word she used. Bazookas.
Well, law enforcement individuals were often stuck with bows and arrows.
Right. And it's not necessarily a lack of skilled people on the defensive side. There's a huge gap in resources, funding, but also, crucially, the limitations they have to work under.
Yeah, think about the hurdles. International jurisdiction, for one, bureaucratic processes, red tape, things that are designed to ensure justice, which is good, but they can really, really slow down investigations when your criminal is operating across continents with just a few clicks.
That makes total sense. The speed of cybercrime, the fact that it ignores borders, it seems fundamentally mismatched with our sort of older legal framework.
Completely.
What other big obstacles did Maria point out?
Well, a huge one is public awareness. Or maybe lack of it, preparedness.
Okay.
Maria really emphasized that a surprising number of online scams, maybe even most, succeed simply because people aren't aware of the really basic red flags.
We're not talking super technical stuff here.
No, not at all. Not needing a computer science degree, just, knowing how to spot a dodgy link or why that email request seems a bit off.
Right. The challenge then is how do you actually educate, billions of people on these fundamentals effectively?
Exactly. And this is where Maria's own project, Vival, comes into the picture.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like it's a direct answer to this need for accessible, everyday cybersecurity protection. Tell us a bit more about what it actually is.
So Vival is an app. It's launching in June, Maria said. And she designed it to be this really user-friendly digital guardian for regular people.
A guardian. Okay.
The idea is it's meant to be more proactive. and easier to use than maybe your standard antivirus software.
And what does it do functionality-wise?
Well, one core thing, which is super relevant now, is scanning and verifying QR codes.
Oh, that's huge. They're everywhere.
Everywhere. And links, emails too. Think of it like a digital sixth sense, sniffing out bad stuff before you click.
That QR code scanning is key, isn't it? Because most of us, myself included, probably just scan without even thinking twice.
Mm-hmm. What else does Vival do?
It also has a feature built in to check cryptocurrency wallet addresses.
Ah, important with all the crypto scams.
Definitely. Vital. Plus, there's an easy-to-use chat function. You can ask cybersecurity questions, get reliable answers.
Like a help desk.
Sort of, yeah. But maybe the most crucial bit is a dedicated help button for when the worst happens.
Okay.
If you've actually fallen for a scam, it connects you directly with professionals, people who can give guidance, support.
Got it. So it's not just about locking the doors beforehand. It's also having a lifeline if someone does manage to get in.
Mm.
Maria really stressed that the goal is making these cybersecurity tools feel as normal, as easy as the things we do in the physical world, like locking our front door.
Exactly. And she touched on something important, too, how much we rely on digital tools now, even for basic stuff.
Like government services?
Yeah, accessing government services, getting digital certificates, this increasing dependence, it can create real anxiety. She even used the term digital PTSD for people who've been victims of cybercrime.
Wow, digital PTSD, that's powerful.
Yeah. So the hope with Vival is it can help reduce some of that fear by putting practical tools right into people's hands, making it feel manageable.
This really leads us nicely into the human cost, doesn't it? Marie shared some really powerful insights on the emotional impact. What stood out most to you there?
I think the feelings of guilt and shame, how profound they are for victims, especially, she noted, among older individuals. Well, Maria explained how sometimes family members, meaning, well, of course, might take over their accounts after they've been scammed.
To protect them?
Right, but it can unintentionally make the older person feel infantilized, helpless, like they've lost control. And for younger victims, too, that self-blame after losing money can be incredibly damaging.
She also told that story, didn't she?
Yeah.
About the person caught in a pyramid scheme.
Oh, yeah.
And how it didn't just cost them money, it completely fractured their relationships, broke trust.
Absolutely. It just hammered home that the damage goes way, way beyond the bank account.
Mm.
It really highlights why we need to understand the psychological state of someone who's been targeted. Because often the way these criminals work, the social engineering...
The manipulation.
Exactly. The manipulation tactics mean the victim doesn't even realize they're being scammed until much, much later. It's a betrayal of trust first, then the financial loss follows.
And Maria gave some very current examples of the types of scams that are really common right now.
She did. Romance scams were one, sadly, often targeting women, preying on emotional vulnerabilities.
Okay.
Then there's sextortion schemes, which unfortunately seem to hit men more often.
Right.
And then the classics, phishing emails that look legit, those fake ads all over social media promising amazing deals. They can catch anyone.
So her main point was...
vulnerability. That's the key. Anyone can be targeted, especially when you're going through a stressful time, a big life change. That's when your guard might be down.
It really makes you wonder, though, who are the people behind these attacks? What drives them? Maria offered a criminological take on how cybercriminals develop.
Yeah, from that perspective, Maria explained it often starts young, adolescence, a mix of risk-taking behavior and intellectual curiosity.
So not always about money initially.
Not necessarily, no. Sometimes it's the challenge, can I do this? Proving themselves. It's an ego thing. The danger, she pointed out, is when that curiosity isn't channeled positively. If it's not guided, it can morph into serious criminal activity.
But it's encouraging, she mentioned, efforts to actually redirect that talent.
Definitely.
Things like cyber competitions, hackathons in schools, offering cybersecurity training as a legit career path.
Exactly. The idea is to harness that technical skill, that drive to solve tricky problems, but point it towards ethical uses. Build things, don't break them.
But what about those who, do persist in cybercrime? What are their motivations then?
Well, Maria said it becomes more complex. Ego is still a big part of it, financial gain, obviously. but also this desire for recognition, almost like status within the cybercriminal community.
A reputation.
Yeah, a twisted kind of status. She even mentioned having cybercriminals try to contact her after an attack, wanting to publicize it, brag about their exploits.
Wow, that really shows that narcissistic element, doesn't it?
Totally.
And what about the common idea about where these criminals are? You always hear about them being overseas, somewhere far away.
Maria clarified that. Yes, there are definitely major organized groups operating internationally, absolutely huge operations. But a lot of the perpetrators are actually much closer to home than we might think. She gave an example of a recent bust here involving an emergency scam, people pretending to be relatives needing cash urgently,
Okay.
and the people behind it. They were caught right here within the same country. So while the really sophisticated big money attacks might originate internationally, a significant chunk of cybercrime is happening locally.
Right here. Okay, let's shift focus just a little bit. There's this constant debate, isn't there, about screen time for kids? How much is too much, the downsides? Maria had a specific view on this, connecting it to cybersecurity education.
Yeah, Maria's take was interesting. She sees limiting screen time as primarily a mental health issue.
Okay, how so?
Related to things like social development, language acquisition. She even gave examples of really young kids showing developmental delays because of too much screen exposure, not enough interaction.
Right, but she drew a line between that and cyber safety.
Yes, a clear distinction. Her point was basically, look, if kids are using digital devices, and let's face it, most are these days, then it's a parental responsibility.
Yeah.
You have to teach them about online safety.
Just like teaching them road safety.
Exactly, just like you teach them to look both ways before crossing the street. Same principle, different environment.
And she did acknowledge how tough that can be for parents.
Oh, absolutely. Many parents didn't grow up digital natives themselves. They might feel completely out of their depth trying to teach this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which points to a need for what?
Broader public education, really. More support systems for parents trying to navigate this digital landscape safely with their kids. Maria also mentioned how younger generations use social media differently, have different ideas about privacy than older adults.
And the specific risks kids face online.
Yeah, she highlighted things like online predators, using gaming platforms, pretending to be other kids to gain trust. It's scary stuff.
Definitely. Okay, moving towards the business world now. Maria talked about how even companies with, decent cybersecurity setups are still vulnerable.
Yeah, things like supply chain attacks. Human error is always a big factor, too.
Right. And she addressed that common advice you always hear. We need to increase our cybersecurity culture. But how do you actually do that effectively? What was her key insight?
Her main point, and I thought this was really smart, was that cybersecurity training for employees works much better when you frame it around their personal benefit.
Not just protecting the company's data.
Exactly. Less about corporate security policies, more about here's how these practices protect your private information, your family, your home network.
Make it personal.
Precisely. The idea is if employees understand the direct personal relevance, how it keeps them safe, they're far more likely to actually adopt those secure habits. And those habits will naturally carry over into their work environment.
That makes a lot of sense. People are usually more motivated by what affects them directly. Did she mention Vival in this context?
She suggested tools like Vival could potentially be valuable for businesses, too, by reinforcing that personal security awareness.
Yeah.
Helping employees protect themselves first.
Yeah. She contrasted this kind of people-centric approach with the more traditional compliance training.
Right, the tick box exercises, the stuff you just have to click through once a year, that often feels detached and doesn't really lead to lasting behavioral changes.
No, you just forget it straight away.
Exactly, make it relevant to their lives, and the secure habits are more likely to stick.
Okay, so let's try and wrap up this deep dive with María Aperador Montoya. We've covered quite a bit.
We have. We explored how crime has seriously gone digital, this huge shift.
Mm-hmm. The significant challenges in actually fighting it effectively, that resource gap, the legal hurdles.
And the absolutely critical need for more public awareness, plus easy-to-use tools like Vival that Maria is developing.
We also touched on the very real human cost, the emotional toll on victims.
Yeah, and the complex reasons behind why people become cybercriminals in the first place.
The importance of starting digital safety education early for kids.
And finally, that shift towards a more effective, human-centered way of thinking about cybersecurity training in businesses. Make it personal.
And really, for you, our listener, just understanding these dynamics, these shifts, and knowing what resources are out there, that's the crucial first step.
Absolutely. Towards feeling more secure, more confident in this digital world we all live in now.
Definitely.
So here's something to maybe mull over, a final thought to take away. With artificial intelligence, AI, advancing so incredibly fast.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It has this huge potential, right?
Yeah.
To both supercharge cybercrime, make attacks more sophisticated, harder to detect.
But also to create entirely new cybersecurity defenses. Better prediction, faster response.
Exactly. So the question for you is, thinking about the near future, what do you see as the biggest challenges and maybe the biggest opportunities that AI will bring to this whole landscape, both in your personal life and maybe in your job too?
It's a huge question.
It is. It's evolving so quickly, and just staying curious, staying aware is probably key right now.